A new kind of ballistic missile and 1,000 days of war. This is week 143 of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. I'm Anna Belliker, reporting to you from Kyiv, and I'll be taking you through the top stories of the week. In a dramatic development, Russia launched its new ballistic missile, called the Oreshnik, against Ukraine in the early morning hours of November 21st. The attack struck the city of Dnipro in central Ukraine. Russian President Vladimir Putin described the strike as a test of one of the country's latest missile systems in combat conditions, or, for the residents of Dnipro, innocent civilian conditions. This move by Russia came shortly after US President Biden's administration reversed its policy on allowing Ukraine to use American-supplied long-range missiles for strikes on Russian territory. The Kremlin yet again issued statements regarding the West's escalation, threatening retaliation and ultimately delivering it in the form of this new ballistic. Putin himself confirmed that the November 22nd strike was in response to Ukraine's use of Western-supplied ATACMS and Storm Shadows earlier in the week. The US Embassy here in Kyiv issued an urgent warning on Wednesday morning that a significant air attack was likely and told its employees to shelter in place. Several other embassies followed suit. According to a US official, Russia had provided a 30-minute advanced warning through nuclear risk reduction channels prior to its launch of the missile. Tensions have been particularly heightened after Putin approved revisions to Russia's nuclear deterrence policy, which expanded the conditions for its use of nuclear weapons. However, the Oreshnik missile used on Thursday morning didn't carry any nuclear warheads and was part of a broader strike involving various missile types, including cruise missiles and aeroballistic weapons. US officials told the Kyiv Independent that Ukraine has withstood countless attacks from Russia, including from missiles with significantly larger warheads than this weapon, but that they take all threats seriously. Ukraine's Air Force initially reported that the missile bore the characteristics of an intercontinental ballistic missile, which would be the first of its kind used by Russia, and would trigger nuclear alarms around the world. But the report was later revised to say that the missile was of the intermediate range type, not intercontinental. Intermediate-range ballistic missiles, like the Oreshnik, represent a significant leap in Russia's arsenal. These weapons have longer ranges and higher speeds than the short-range missiles typically used in this war, posing a new challenge to Ukraine's air defenses. Ballistic missiles are quite difficult to intercept, with speeds up to Mach 10, as Putin claimed during his announcement. While not yet determined, some experts suggest that the Oreshnik may be a modified version of Russia's Rubezh intermediate-range missile, capable of delivering multiple warheads at a range of up to 5,800 kilometers. On November 22nd, Ukrainian intelligence claimed that the Oreshnik was actually a Kater, or Cedar, a missile which Russia has been known to possess since at least 2023. A defense expert from the University of Oslo told the Kyiv Independent that he doubted the new missile had more than 10% novel parts, and was likely a combination of several older missile types, repackaged for show. While the details still remain vague, the experimental use of such weaponry underscores the Kremlin's effort to project its capabilities to Ukraine's allies. Ukraine has accused Russia of using its territory as something of a training ground for its advanced weapons, along with the weapons of its allies, such as Iran and North Korea. President Zelensky emphasized the urgent need for enhanced air defenses capable of countering these sophisticated threats. The Kyiv Independent just turned 3 years old, and in honor of our birthday month, we're aiming to recruit 1,000 new people into our community. For as little as $5 a month, you can support independent journalism on the ground in Ukraine, while receiving some cool perks, exclusive content, and access to Kyiv Independent community activities. At the time of filming this, we only need a couple hundred more people to meet our goal of 1,000, so if you'd like to be one of them, please visit the link in the description below. This week marked 1,000 days since the start of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, a grim milestone that highlighted many tragic losses of the last 2.5 years. Along with the astronomical sacrifice made by Ukrainian troops on the battlefield, at least 12,000 civilians have been killed and nearly 30,000 more injured by Russia's war. On the actual 1,000th day, Tuesday, the number of children killed by the invasion stood at 659, but it's since increased to 660 in the subsequent days. In 1,000 days, Ukraine has seen 10,000 missile strikes and 18,500 drone attacks. Millions of Ukrainians have been displaced from their homes, and 18% of Ukraine is currently occupied by Russia. The weight of these traumas and tragedies will not be lifted for decades to come. Russia is under investigation for more than 148,000 war crimes in Ukraine, with many more still undiscovered. There's particular concern about the crimes being committed in the territories of Ukraine that are currently under Russian occupation. If the war is frozen along its current battle lines, millions of Ukrainians living under this occupation will be left under Moscow's control. 1,000 days is an unthinkable amount of time to live through war. But the most frightening thing is fearing that the sacrifices could end in a bad deal for Ukraine. Elon Musk, who seems to be playing an increasingly important role in Donald Trump's team, offered us another glimpse into his attitude toward Ukraine. Okay, so President Zelensky did an interview with Suspilne on November 16th. Elon Musk retweeted a modified excerpt from it the next day, in which Zelensky had said, "The US cannot force us to sit and listen at the negotiating table. We are an independent country." Musk retweeted it with the comment, "His sense of humor is amazing," about Ukraine being an independent country. Musk made this post shortly after two senior Democratic senators called upon the government to investigate Musk's reported dealings with Russian officials, including Vladimir Putin. Musk has denied that he and Putin have communicated recently, and says that the one time they did speak, several years ago, it was just about space exploration. In response to the allegations that the billionaire has indeed had an ongoing dialogue with the Russian dictator, Musk has said that he's going to find out who's making these accusations, and he's gonna nuke them. As we discussed last week, there's increased scrutiny of Musk's relationship with Russia, as he's been tapped to lead a new advisory body in Donald Trump's impending presidency. Musk was allegedly even on the line for a phone call between Zelensky and Trump shortly after Trump's win. Media outlets, including the New York Times, reported this week that Musk also met with Iran's UN envoy for an hour-long conversation on Monday, a claim that Iran vehemently denies. Either way, it's clear that the billionaire, who owns one of the largest social media platforms in the world, is extending his influence far beyond the realm of internet memes. For Ukraine, Musk's mockery is concerning. If Musk has indeed been building his relationship with Putin, he could be a dangerous force within the Trump presidency. But like Trump, Musk remains somewhat unpredictable and certainly inconsistent, both professionally and personally, meaning there's really no way of knowing what he'll do, what alliances he'll be able to build or maintain, or how much influence he'll ultimately yield. That's all for this week. We'll be back next Sunday with more news from Ukraine. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to this channel. Your support is what allows us to bring you independent, unbiased news about Russia's brutal invasion, which we are committed to doing no matter how much uncertainty the world faces. If you'd like to become a member of the Kyiv Independent community, please visit the link in the description below. I'll see you next week.